Thank you and welcome to my channel, Simply Your World, where we discuss past and present events that will affect you if they haven't already. I'm pretty sure y'all have seen a video of this guy having 30 kids. I'm going to play this 59-second original clip, and then I'm going to get into my commentary on the reason why I feel as if his 30 kids ain't nearly a problem, because I know of a problem that women have been committing on this earth for a long time, and ain't nobody said nothing. I got one just happened a month ago. An example of it just happened a month ago. That's outrageous, that's outlandish, that's disgusting, and no one is speaking about it. I'm trying to figure out why. And I'm going to play this video, and I'm going to get into the meat of the reason why I brought these two things together. Check this out, man.
Pull out game, mate. Pull out game, man. We got this don't pull out, bitch. What you motherfuckers that want to know, I don't pull out. It ain't weak, motherfucker. I don't pull out. Fuck you mean, weak, motherfucker? Just talking about my motherfucking kids. You niggas got 3 or 4 and don't do a motherfucking thing.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
Ain't shit weak over here. My pockets ain't weak and my dick so ain't weak, bitch ass nigga. You pussy ass nigga sitting there talking. Ain't got a motherfucking dollar in your pocket. Ain't got a dollar in your motherfucking pocket. Ain't got a dollar in your motherfucking pocket.
Not $1.
That shit. I'm still that nigga with 30. I'm still that nigga with 30. I'm still that nigga with 30. Fuck you mean, bitch. I'm still that nigga. When you get like me, then you gon' fuck with me, bitch. That's all I got to say, nigga. You niggas will never be me. Quit trying to run my ass because you fuck the same bitch I fuck with. That don't make you me. It will never make you me. Pull like game, mate. Pull like.
Now, check this out. This man had 30 kids. Live births. Now, in this picture you see at the bottom, I think 9 of his kids didn't show up. I wonder why. Nobody's talking about the feat that it took to get all his kids in one picture. Nobody's talking about the feat and the kind of guy he must be to get all his baby mamas to agree, you know what I mean, to bring the kids to the photo shoot and all be in harmony, right? I don't see nothing wrong with this man having 30 kids. At least all his kids have an ability to be something on this earth. All these kids have an ability. One of his kids could be the president of the United States one day. Who knows? But guess what? These kids right here, though, these kids don't have a chance in hell. These kids don't have a chance at all. See what I mean? I want you to check this out. And you probably haven't seen this. You probably didn't clicked off because you don't want to make the woman feel some kind of way. Right? But check this out, though.
We begin our show this week with some news that has brought deep sorrow to the pro-life community. Viewer discretion is advised, as the details we will share are quite graphic. As of taping, the Washington, D.C. medical examiner has refused to conduct autopsies on 5 aborted babies who were handed over to federal authorities by pro-life activists. The activists from the Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising, also known as POW, claim the babies were given to them by a truck driver outside of Washington Surgery Clinic. He was tasked with transporting medical waste from the facility. In addition, the group reports that they retrieved the remains of 110 unborn babies who were victims of first trimester abortions. These 110 children have been given a proper Catholic burial. This incident has led to outrage among many. Autopsies of the 5 babies currently with federal authorities could determine if their deaths violated the federal partial birth abortion ban or the Born Alive Infant Protection Act, which was signed into law in 2002. Medical experts are saying that the babies appear to be in their 2nd and 3rd trimesters of gestation and could have been born alive.
Before we get
in the presence of a Catholic deacon, Lauren cut open the box and...
Before I get too much deeper into this, because I want y'all to know something. For the people who don't know, right? First trimester is from the first day after you miss your period, or I think it's something about first day after your period or something like that, or you're pregnant or whatever, up to 13 weeks, right? The baby's nervous system develops in 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, right? If you killing babies in your stage, you're not aborting children. You are aborticiding. You are killing. You are murdering your children. Now, I don't give a fuck how you feel about it. I don't care what you think about it. You are literally killing your child inside of your stomach, right? Sucking it out. After 13 weeks, can that baby feel itself being pulled apart? Because the nervous system developed after I think 6 to 8 weeks. The first trimester is 1 to 13 weeks. So within the first trimester of your pregnancy, ma'am, your baby has a nervous system. All right? I'm going to get deeper into this and I'm going to come back with more commentary because I can really keep going for an hour right now. But I'm not. I'm going to play this video and I'm going to come back with a little bit more commentary so we can understand why there's not an issue at all with that man having 30 children. At least he had them straight out.
The red plastic bag inside. We then proceeded to unpack the remains of 110 mostly first trimester aborted children. At the bottom of the box was a clear plastic bag with 5 more containers, one much bigger than the remaining 4.
Teresa Bukovac, founder and executive director of POW, said the truck driver who gave them the babies agreed to do so when he was told the children would receive a proper burial. They were being transported in a large box that he handed over to them to take home.
Do y'all see what kind of moral positions y'all put these men in that you so-called hate so much? This man risked his whole life, his livelihood. You know what I mean? 9 times out of 10, he probably got fired for that. All for those children who you thought were just a ball of cells that didn't matter, they were a parasite to you. Because I've heard a lot of women say babies are just parasites, they're just a ball of cells. All that man right there was tasked and will risk his entire livelihood just to give these balls of cells that you say ain't shit a proper burial. If it has a heartbeat, a nervous system, a brain, what the fuck is that? That is a life. And you go so far as to crush that baby head with some forceps and suck his brains out with a vacuum, you are a demon yourself, man. No matter how you cut it, no matter what you say, no matter what you think, no matter how you feel. No, speaking of feelings, can you feel that baby's life leaving your body? You can feel it growing inside of you. Can you feel the baby's life when it expires inside your body? Dumbass.
And joining us now is someone who has been following and reporting on this story very closely, Sam Dorman, a writer for Live Action. Sam, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
I want to start by just talking through a timeline of how this discovery played out. Where did POW take the remains of these children, and when did the federal authorities obtain them?
Sure. So POW found these, I'm not sure exactly if they've said the exact timing, but they had them and then they were taken to Lauren Handy's apartment. And that's where they were found last week. Lauren Handy and the POW had asked the authorities to come and get them. So now we have, they gave Live Action a tip, and now Live Action has footage, and we've reviewed the footage, and experts have reviewed the footage, and we currently see that, you know, these are babies who were late term. They could have been viable. They also could have been subject, like you said, to partial birth abortion, and there's potential violations of federal law.
Before we get too deep into this, do you know what partial birth abortion is? I thought that the D&E abortion was inhumane. The D&E, if you don't, for the people who don't know, a D&E abortion is what's called the dismemberment abortion. This is the abortion that when the baby has become too big to be pulled out with a vacuum or this little scraper tool they got. When the baby becomes too big, they literally, fellas, listen to this is what they do to your children, man. They literally stick scissors or like these forceps into the womb, dilate the womb. Can't do it mechanically because you can injure the woman. You have to but medically dilate the womb. Then you have to go in and twist the baby apart like a piece of chicken, bro. Imagine a piece of chicken coming fresh out the oven, dog. And you take the leg off that chicken you get from Walmart. Just like that. Then they take the forceps and crush the baby's chest. Then to get the bigger parts out, they got to take it and crush the baby's head. And suck they say, and I got a video that I made a couple of weeks ago, how you know you got everything out is when the white stuff starts coming out the woman's vagina, the baby's brain, bro. A partial birth abortion is when the baby comes out intentionally feet first. They turn the baby and bring it out feet first, so it kind of starts suffocating. Check this out. And then when the baby comes out, they wait to get to the back of his head. Part of the back of his head comes out. And then, check this out. They make a small incision in the back of the baby's head, sticks that same vacuum in that baby's head, and sucks his brain out, bro. Until his skull collapses. That is, I know that's graphic as fuck, but that's exactly what a partial birth abortion is. But see, they can run to the medical clinics and, well, I'm going to have a checkup today. I'm going to get my 8th month, my yearly checkup. I'm going to get a procedure. The whole thing she doing, bro, she keeping that baby from you, dog. So now you gotta ask yourself, how many abortions have your woman had? My woman, a woman across the street had. Going to the doctor, but at the discretion of the doctor's office, she can lay up on the table. She can lay up on the table and get and kill her child in the most inhumane way speakable, bro. And then come out and go to the club the same fucking night, bro. Come on, man. Suck the baby's brain out with a vacuum till his skull collapses? And you talking about that man with 30 kids? Big ups to the women who actually had the kids. If you healthy, with no ailments, no trauma, and ain't nothing wrong with that baby, and you decide to go kill that baby, you are an immoral, boy, that's something that I can call you are very immoral. You are a very immoral woman. Straight out. Let's keep going, man. I got way more to go, way more to show you, more graphic things to talk about. That man having 30 kids is excellent. At least he's doing his part in helping replenish the earth or the black nation.
Yes. And the DC police have not pressed charges against Lauren Handy or Powell in this case, but Lauren Handy is now being indicted in a different case from about 2 years ago, and they've brought that back up. Why is that? Do you have any insight into that?
No, it's kind of weird timing, right? The indictment was brought basically right around the time that they went and got the fetuses after Powell had notified them of that, and it's really unclear as to why the Justice Department is doing that now. We can only hope the Justice Department, since this is potential federal violations, they clearly have jurisdiction over this, and they should be intervening to investigate whether these are what happened to these babies.
Yes, and have we heard anything from DC police or federal authorities as to where these 5 babies are now? What's happening to them?
It's our understanding that they're at the medical examiner's office, and so the medical examiner so far declined to do an autopsy. So Live Action is calling for an autopsy. We need to have an independent pathologist review the results and do their own investigation. And then we'd also like to have a proper burial for the children. That's I think the least we can do. Mm-hmm. An investigation is the least we can do, considering the state that they're in. Everyone's seen the pictures and how terrible the condition that they're in, and only imagine what kind of undignified treatment they receive.
Right. And the reason that the DC medical examiner says he won't autopsy the bodies is because he says these abortions they weren't performed illegally. But could you speak to what the current law is when it comes to the partial birth abortion ban and the Infant Born Alive Protection Act?
Please check this out.
Law? Is it how can we know that these abortions were in fact legal?
Well, so the problem is with DC law, it's pretty liberal, one of the most liberal in the country. So you can basically abort any time, but there's still federal restrictions, like you said. So the partial birth abortion ban protects infants so that they can't be pulled partially out of the woman and then killed immediately after that. So in fact, there's one baby that looks like that is what happened to them. Medical experts have said that it looks as though that child had a puncture wound in the neck and then had their brain suctioned out, which is...
Need I say more? But why ain't y'all females talking about this? Why ain't y'all talking about your female friends and your colleagues and maybe yourself if you're listening to this, right? Then went in there and sucked that baby out your ass like that. DC, one of the most liberal in the country, like he said, you can abort it any time. How many 9-month, almost to term babies were aborted And then those are the partial birth abortions. They too big. Now that's just like too much blood and guts. Just like we can't just, that baby got a full intestine system and everything. We can't yank the baby out of you like this, ma'am. So what we gonna do, we gonna induce your pregnancy. And then we gonna suck the baby's brain out when the baby's more than 3/4 of the way out your body. So by the time it comes, it'll be dead. Now, as we get into it, I'm going to show you, boy, listen, I'm going to show you where in some cases they do what's called shelve the babies. Put the babies in a dirty ass room to die alone. Is anybody talking about this? Are you more outraged about this or that man having 30 children? What? Man, have 60 kids. Because since 1973, women that were healthy with no trauma and that baby healthy, no risk to the baby, that aborted their children, right, have committed the worst genocide in American history, in world history. Can we talk about that? Aborticide is just like any other side: homicide, suicide, genocide, pesticide, herbicide. It don't matter. Infanticide. It is one organism killing off another organism. Okay? Partial birth abortions suck the baby's brain out until its skull collapses. I can't put enough emphasis on that. Can I get some fucking outrage about that? Let's keep going. I don't want to hear that shit about men having kids. Bro, have as many motherfucking kids as you can, and big ups to the women who actually have the kids. Shit. All you inhumane ass females who done did that dumb ass shit, leave as many comments as you want. Let's talk about it. But if you're gonna talk about it, be as honest as I'm being. Don't get in my comment box talking shit. Straight out. If you ain't coming with no intellectual talk, you might well keep it moving. Because the only thing I'm doing is presenting facts to you. You can be as mad as you want about it, ma'am.
Just very hard to look at. And the other law, like you said, is the Born Alive Infant Protection Act, which requires life-saving medical care. And this particular doctor, Dr. Santangelo, has said on camera to live-action investigators that he does not provide that, and he's just willing to let them die.
Horrifying.
So, yeah. The conditions are there for any kind of investigation.
Right,
yeah.
Yes. And Senator James Lankford, along with other pro-life lawmakers, have just issued a letter demanding that this investigation be carried out, these autopsies happen. Have you heard about anything else that lawmakers are doing to take action on this?
Well, so they released a letter, and I think there are maybe more letters coming, but that particular letter, it was about 2 dozen members of Congress, and we can only hope that they're in communication with the Justice Department. This is the Biden administration, so who knows what the Justice Department is going to do. They brought this FACE Act violation, which is about the so-called right to abortion that, and they're using that to prosecute pro-life activists.
So unfortunate. And could you speak a little bit to how we know that these babies may have survived outside the womb? I know that you've been in touch with expert physicians on this issue.
Right. Well, that's one of the things that we need to look at because you can do things with an autopsy to see, for example, if they breathed and that they were able to make it outside the womb. But besides that, I mean, you look at them, one of the babies looks like he's potentially full term. The other one that's really interesting is a baby that was born in caul, so it was still in the amniotic sac.
Yes.
And if that is the case, Dr. Santangelo has said that he doesn't actually do injections. Usually there's a feticide that's injected. He says that he usually just cuts the cord and lets the baby bleed out. Well, you can't do that if they're still in the amniotic sac. So there's indications with that the baby could have been born alive and just left.
So many questions here and so much more that
let's just keep going. I had something I want to say right there, but let's keep going. Then I'll bring that in later at another point.
needs to be uncovered. Sam Dorman, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And joining us now for medical analysis is Dr. Ingrid Scott, Senior Fellow and Director of Medical Affairs at the Charlotte Lozier Institute. Dr. Scott, as someone who has dedicated your life's work to bringing life into the world, I first just want to hear what your immediate reaction was to this devastating news.
When I initially looked at the photographs and the videos, my initial reaction was sadness. These babies were big, and they were clearly viable. They could have lived separated from their mothers. They looked like normal children that I deliver every day in my practice.
Could you tell us how specifically you determined that these babies could have been victims of infanticide or of partial birth abortions?
Well, one of the babies, a little female, the initial picture that looked at her face showed very little cranium. It looked as if she might have anencephaly. But a photograph from the back showed a surgical incision into the back of her brain. This is consistent with a procedure that is illegal by federal law. A layman's term is partial birth abortion. The medical term is intact dilation and evacuation. What happens is the baby is delivered feet first to the level of her head, and then an incision is made in the skull. The brain tissue is vacuumed out, and then the skull can be collapsed and delivered.
About that. Check this out. Need I say more? Need I say more? So, go back to my initial question. I'm going to pose a question to y'all. For the ones who did not know what it took to actually abort a child, that actually made it this far, because I know a lot of people's attention span ain't shit, right? But everybody that made it this far, my question is this. What is more plausible? If you had a decision to make, if you was faced with this decision or this decision, no other one, well, I wouldn't choose neither one. You gotta choose one. You have to choose one. It ain't no, well, I wouldn't choose neither one. You gotta choose one. Okay? Watching your woman, this is your 19th child or whatever, and then you gotta watch your baby's skull be collapsed with a vacuum, an incision made in the back of your baby's neck, right in front of your face, the baby hanging out, feet first, hanging out, purple probably because it's suffocated or suffocating by now, right? Suck the baby's brain out through his neck, pull him out, collapse his brain like a box, and then throw him in the trash. Or be born fully alive and leave the baby there to die on its own. Right? All these things are one. All the different types of abortions. Right? No matter how you do it. Had a baby get pulled apart with forceps in the baby in the womb till his head get crushed with forceps. I mean, you see what I'm saying? We can do all the different things. Or have 30 kids. All your children alive, knowing the details of how your previous children or how your future children will be killed. What are you going to do? Are you going to have these kids? Or are you going to watch your other kids get killed because you simply don't want it? That's my question. I'm out of here, man.